I've mentioned it before in other videos, but I'm a huge Amiibo fan. When I started out, I figured that I'd only collect a few of them, mainly the ones of certain characters that I like. But as many Amiibo hunters know, the Amiibo curse soon kicked in, and now I found myself foolishly trying to get them all. Every morning when I wake up and see my collection, I rethink my life as I have a couple more Amiibos than a normal, sane and rational person should have. The Amiibo selection so far has been pretty good, at least in terms of which characters and franchises are getting Amiibos. The first series to get Amiibos was Super Smash Bros., which included a vast array of characters. Every playable fighter in Smash Bros. Is going to get an Amiibo, besides only 3 of them, which are the 3 Mii fighters. They will not be getting Amiibos. The next series to get Amiibos afterwards was the Super Mario series, which featured Mario-specific figures. It added in a couple of brand new ones, mainly being the Gold Mario Amiibo and the Toad Amiibo. It was all in all a very small wave of Amiibos though, as there's only 7 figures in it in total. So those are all of the currently out Amiibos, but we do know about 2 other franchises that will be getting the Amiibo treatment. The first is Splatoon, which will have 3 Amiibos coming out alongside the game. The next is Animal Crossing Amiibos, and those will be coming out in the near future as well. The kicker on the Animal Crossing Amiibos, however, is that they're actually card Amiibos for a very small downloadable game for the Nintendo 3DS. As we've seen, Nintendo has been really good about making a wide variety of different characters as Amiibos and different franchises being represented, and I'm sure that in the future they'll make some super awesome figures of many of their different franchises. That's why, for this top 5, I thought I'd count down the top 5 Amiibos I'd like to see Nintendo make. Now, keep in mind that, while I do want specific figures to get Amiibos, like Waluigi and Ridley, this list is only going to be counting down actual waves of Amiibos, rather than certain figures. So without further ado, let's jump into number 5. Number 5. Smash Bros. Alts. Surprisingly, this is an Amiibo line that I've wanted for a while. While I don't necessarily want to see more Smash Bros. Amiibos after they finish every character, I do think that they should make Amiibos for the alternate costumes that some of the characters have. They should really branch out and make Amiibos for the male Wii Fit trainer, the female Robin, female villager, Alf, and also the Koopalings. These are the alt costumes for characters that actually change the model into something different, rather than just changing the colors of the character. While I think that the alternate costumes that change the model used should be made into Amiibos, I also am a little bit partial to maybe even having some of the alternate colors for some characters available, perhaps as limited edition versions. I'd love to see an official gold Captain Falcon, or maybe even some of Ness's alt colors, turned into an Amiibo. I'm honestly a little bit surprised that they haven't made the truly different alt costumes into Amiibos yet. In my opinion, they should have been produced and sold right alongside the default version of a character. It would have been cool to walk into a store and get the different versions of Villager or even Wii Fit Trainer all in the same package. I kind of doubt that we'll see alternate costume Amiibos, as Nintendo hasn't mentioned anything about the possibility of them, but I think that they would be really cool to have. Everyone knows that Lemmy is the best Bowser Jr. alt, so having an Amiibo of him will put all of the other Koopalings out of business. Number 4. Non-card Animal Crossing Amiibos. This might be kind of a weird thing to want, but I want Animal Crossing Amiibos that aren't the card ones that we've already been shown. Honestly, the card form of Amiibo looks okay if all you care about is the functionality of Amiibos, but for me, what I like is actually collecting the figures of the characters from games I enjoy. There's just something about having an actual figure of a character that you can hold in your hand that I like a lot more than just having a card of them. It would be cool to have some of the prominent characters and townsfolk as Amiibos, such as Tom Nook, Blathers, KK Slider, and some of the other cool ones, with each of them perhaps giving you a rare or exclusive item related to them. Perhaps Tom Nook could give you some exclusive Amiibo furniture, or maybe KK Slider would give you an exclusive song. I think that this would be a great way to incorporate some of the more prominent villagers as Amiibos. Another idea I had on how they could incorporate Amiibos into the game is having Amiibo exclusive villagers. Perhaps there would be a select few Animal Crossing villagers that would only move to your town via Amiibo. They wouldn't be anything too crazy or game-changing, just some cool exclusive villagers that could populate your town only if you had their Amiibo. They could even bring some of the older villagers from previous Animal Crossing games back using this method. I know there are some people out there who are against Amiibos giving exclusive content that changes the game significantly, but I think that something like exclusive villagers or exclusive items isn't too big of a deal. It's not like it's something truly groundbreaking like a brand new area or a whole new gameplay mechanic. These would be just fairly small things that they could incorporate to make Amiibos feel a little bit more useful. I think that Nintendo should really start integrating Amiibos more into games and start capitalizing on things and functionality that they can have. I haven't really cared much for what Amiibos can do, but if Animal Crossing Amiibos could do something cool like exclusive villagers or items, I would be all in for that. Number 3. Pikmin Amiibos. I know that Pikmin is a fairly small franchise, but I can't help but want a small line of Pikmin Amiibos. Literally! It's one of the most unique and creative Nintendo franchises out there, and they could do a lot in terms of actual Amiibo figures. They wouldn't need to have a big lineup of characters, but I could see them including an Olimar Amiibo, a Bulborb Amiibo, and maybe an Amiibo of the 3 original Pikmin types, just to keep the line fairly small and simple. Pikmin is one of my favorite Nintendo properties out there, and it's really a shame that it gets the short end of the stick merchandise-wise. There really isn't a lot of Pikmin stuff you can buy, which is kind of a bummer. I think that if Pikmin Amiibos were made, it would give fans of the series some cool figures, and it could potentially have some cool uses in Pikmin 3, and maybe even a potential Pikmin 4. As for what they would do in the game, I could see the actual Pikmin Amiibos giving boosts to the Pikmin in-game. Perhaps scanning a Pikmin Amiibo would give all the Pikmin of that color flowers. Maybe scanning the Olimar Amiibo would give him a boost in-game, perhaps increasing his speed or maybe even how far he could throw the Pikmin. I can't really see a lot of worthwhile uses that Pikmin Amiibo would have in-game, but honestly, I really just want some cool Pikmin figures to collect. Number 2. Retro-styled Amiibos. With Nintendo revealing the Yarn Yoshi Amiibo, it finally struck me that Amiibos can take all sorts of forms and shapes. They don't all necessarily have to be confined to using the most modern design and being entirely out of plastic. Without these limitations, I think that Nintendo should go back to the basics and make a line of retro-styled Amiibos. When I say retro-styled, I mean making Amiibos based on a character's older or perhaps their first appearance in a video game. Mario and Luigi could be styled after their Super Mario Bros. Appearance and look like a 3D sprite or maybe just be a flat set of pixels. While Super Mario Bros. Isn't technically their first appearance in a video game, it's definitely one of their most memorable games. I think they could easily make these retro sprite adaptations for many of the characters that appeared around that time of the NES and the SNES. They could make one for Samus, Pit, Link, and even Bowser. There's no limit to the amount of retro sprites they could bring in as cool Amiibos. Of course, if they did this, it would kind of exclude other characters that didn't necessarily appear on the NES or SNES. I think that for characters like Fox, Captain Falcon, or even potentially Link, even though he appeared on the NES already, they should make retro-styled Amiibos based off of their N64 models. I know that I've gone on record saying that the N64 has really ugly 3D models and graphics, but there is something nostalgic and kind of retro about seeing characters in their first 3D debut. I personally think that we might get something similar to this. Maybe not N64 Amiibos per se, but I could see them doing something like a retro throwback styled Amiibo series, maybe for some of the characters' anniversaries that are coming up. It would be a great way to celebrate some of these long-lasting characters, and would give the fans some really cool and memorable figures as well. And my number 1 pick is a Pokemon series of Amiibos. I'm sure that many Amiibo enthusiasts have seen this fake mock-up image of Pokemon Amiibos that's been floating around for a while. Even though it's fake, I know that Pokemon Amiibos will be coming. It's such a no-brainer to make Amiibos for Pokemon. Nintendo will truly be rolling and laughing in all of the money they have once they introduce a steady line of Pokemon Amiibos. I'm just so excited about the idea that that's my #1 pick, Pokemon Amiibos. I feel like the best way to kick off a Pokemon Amiibo line is to really start back at the beginning of the games. Love it or hate it, I think that when Pokemon Amiibo lines start rolling out, that they'll begin using Generation 1 Pokemon. Gen 1 is easily the most iconic out of the generations, and I think that it still has the largest fanbase out of every Pokemon game. With Pokemon's 20th anniversary coming up, I wouldn't be surprised if they release some 20th anniversary Amiibos to celebrate, like that fake image was suggesting. I could see them doing Amiibos of all of the starters and Pikachu, and maybe including some fan favorites from Generation 1 as well. Maybe have Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan in a dual pack, perhaps even an Amiibo of the infamous Mewtwo. Another idea that I think is very likely to happen is Pokemon Amiibo cards. It would be really cool to buy a pack of Amiibo Pokemon cards and be able to use special Amiibo cards in the latest Pokemon game, maybe for event Pokemon, or perhaps use the cards in an updated Pokemon trading card game for Wii U and 3DS. Heck, they could even expand the functionality of them to some of the spin-off games, like maybe Pokemon Rumble World or Pokken. Regardless of what form of Pokemon Amiibo they choose to do, I think it will be awesome to get Amiibos of them. The only Pokemon Amiibos we have currently are the few we get in Smash Bros., but there's so many cool Pokemon that aren't in Smash Bros. I want to see Amiibos of. I want to see some of my favorites like Steelix, Sylveon, Gengar, Braviary. There's just too many cool Pokemon I'd love to see. The only issue with Pokemon Amiibos is that my wallet is pretty much going to erupt into tears whenever a new wave is announced. This concludes my list of the top 5 Amiibo ideas that I want to see. In truth, I think that almost any new Amiibos that aren't in the Smash line will be a welcome change. There's just too many in the Smash Bros. Line to keep up with, so hopefully once that's completed, we'll start to see some more unique and broad Amiibo line ideas. Agree with my list? Disagree? Perhaps you think that we should get a ukulele line of Amiibo and a Waluigi, yeah. Feel free to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.